Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Jeanette Biro here. I'm a medium and a channeler. Welcome to your weekday daily card reading where we dive into the cards and see what's in store with a message from Spirit. All right, this week I'm guided to use tarot. This is the Light Seers Tarot deck. I love this deck. This is a great deck. Whether you're a beginner, whether you've been doing tarot for a long time, it's a nice, fresh perspective. And I find the artwork in this one also tells so much of a story, like a huge part of the story. So let's see what's in the cards here. Okay, let me just tune in while I'm shuffling here. Well, this is really interesting. Okay, I knew there was a galactic presence this morning too. As soon as I closed my eyes, I saw an image of the earth and I saw these big arms wrapped around the earth, kind of like holding the earth. And so this is coming from my Galactic guides, which it's so interesting. They have been asking if they can come through more. And I've been considering doing like a Galactic Fridays, messages from the stars. So I think I might do that. I might start the Galactic Friday messages, like specifically from the Galactics to understand what's going on in the stars. So I may just start that on Friday because they're wanting to come through. Okay, fair. And what they're wanting to say is, when we look at just the 3D perspective of the earth right now, there's a lot of positives if we find them. We have to go and find them. There's a lot of negatives that are very much in our face. There's lots of turmoil, lots of chaos. And they're saying, notice geographically where there is higher densities of frequencies that are in desperate need of a shift. And that shift is in consciousness. They're in different areas for different reasons to try and push through an energy of change. And some of those areas have really dense frequencies, and some have higher frequencies. And they're like, it's part of the duality on the planet though. Like, just like we have experiences of duality, and the simplest way is, as human beings, we need time awake and we need time asleep, right? That's the duality. We can't just stay awake the whole time. We need the duality of it. And so they're saying that same simplistic concept of duality applies to the planet as well. The planet needs to have duality on it as well because it is in 3D. What we're noticing right now though is the duality is very dense in some areas, very low, very dark, but also in other areas very high. And many of you are holding that high frequency with your ascension and with your growth. So what the Galactics are saying is they're like, we are aware of all of this and we are also trying our best to hold the planet in this frequency of safety. And so the reason they're bringing this through is, and I haven't even checked what's happening in terms of like, what are the narratives right now? I haven't checked this week to see. I haven't seen things. But what I'm getting from them is there is a big narrative. Oh, I see why. Okay, thank you. There's a big narrative of planetary doom as a result of the solar flares, which is what they're saying, because we had that, we had a couple of very high solar flares. One of them was the highest that we've had in 7 years. And they're like, remember, this is something that I've talked about. They're saying, remember, this is part of the solar cycle. There's an 11-year solar cycle that happens every 11 years, right? It cycles through. This cycle is higher and more intense than they predicted, but it is moving up within a cycle. So we will see higher intensity solar flares, geomagnetic storms, as we move towards the peak, which is in July, next July. June, July, I believe. And so they're like, just know that we have the planet and it's held and it is safe in its planetary frequency. It's not going to blow up. We're not going to have a massive extinction event. It's not in the path for where humanity is going now, because enough people have awakened to hold a consistent frequency on the surface. And the planet itself does not wish to go through that again as well. So they really want to reassure everybody that any of that kind of like doom and gloom messaging right now about planetary extinction, specifically with the solar flares, they're saying, please know that this is within the solar cycle. Yes, there is intensity, but it's also on a spiritual level helping to move the intensity and shift it on our planet also in terms of our consciousness. So, big message from them this morning. Very interesting they came through. All right, I think I'm going to have to start Galactic Fridays for sure. So Okay, I'll get on that. Okay, let's get into the cards here. Very interesting. Oh, 2 came out. Okay. Spirit, I am very intrigued. I just have to ask them one question. Okay, fair. So the reason why I had to ask them a question is first card out is the Lover's card. Now, Lover's card, obvious, talks about unions, partnerships, and all of that. But what I needed to ask them was the Lover's card in ancient tarot was actually the choice card. It was about choices. So I needed to know if this reading was directed in choices or lovers and relationships. And it is actually about relationships. So there's a big emphasis on relationships right now. And I'm not too surprised in a sense because we're coming off the heels of the eclipse. And the eclipse is big, changes, game changers, relationship changers, life path changers. And there's changes happening in your relationships. Now, for some of you, there's an emphasis this week with the Lover's card of heart-based relationships, and they're saying this is why Spirit was talking about opening up the heart space last week, a big emphasis of that heart frequency, because there's several things happening, okay? So for some of you, you're entering into a season of either karmic relationships coming back, twin flame relationships, soulmate relationships, either from the past at this point or past lives. So 6 of Cups often talks about someone from the past lives even. And this is really emphasizing the relationship piece. So how this can show itself, this is where the variation is. Some of you may have somebody from your past come into your life again, and it's for you to decide, are you in alignment with that person now with who you are or not? So for some, you may run into somebody, come across somebody, be thinking of somebody from your past as simply a reminder that you have in fact moved forward. Others, you may have somebody coming from your past stepping back in because they're now ready to be an equal partner for you, or you are now ready to be an equal partner for them. So there's a partnership coming back from the past. And as well, you may be connecting with somebody from a past life. So you may meet somebody new in this lifetime but feel this resonance with them that they're from, that you know them from somewhere and they're from the past. And so there's a big emphasis this week on relationships. Notice what's happening in your relationships this week. Now, a key thing when managing and maneuvering relationships, and again, there's a heavy emphasis on romantic heart-based relationships, but this can also be family-based. It could even be business partnerships, connections. But I will say there's a bigger emphasis on the heart piece. One thing to do though, that Spirit's guidance in this, because this is like a long-awaited thing. And whether that long-awaited thing is the recognition of your closure or the beginning of something new with someone from the past, again, there's many ways it can be. There's 2 pieces of guidance in how you move with it. First one is try and move slow and steady. This Knight of Pentacles is all about step by step by step by step. There's no need to rush any piece of this right now. It's really about you going slow and steady. And the reason is because the frequency and the energy is new. Post-eclipse frequency is new. And there's a lot of ways in which that new energy is meeting you in your life right now. That new energy can cause stress, energy, worry. 9 of Swords is all about worry. What's keeping you up at night? What's playing in your mind? And so within your physical reality, which is really the Pentacles, take things nice and slow and steady, knowing that you are protected by your own heart space, knowing that you are standing in your truth, knowing that you are so much more in tune with not only life, but everything around you right now. And you can rely on that. You can tune into that. You can stop and pause and reflect, like Spirit was talking about. Take a moment, feel what you're feeling, notice what you're feeling, let your body talk to you, and it'll keep you out of this. Because this is old frequency. We don't want to sit in the energy of worry anymore. That's the density. We don't want that density. We want to trust in our path forward. And so with these new relationships, take it slow and steady. tune into the physicality of your body. Let it be that connection for you in moving forward. And I'm very curious what kind of relationships begin to show themselves for you this week. It's very interesting that we're stepping in with relationship. So I will leave that with all of you. Do check out the podcast today. It's a great episode with Lisa Richmond talking about sound healing and all kinds of fun stuff. So definitely check it out, and I will see you all again tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day, everyone.